Hello everyone, it's me again, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about theory. We had left off last time with just some basic ideas of movement, and I wanted to expound a little bit on some basic body posture, as well as some more actual purpose of movement, illusion of movement, if you will, how to create the illusions of being in a place while you're not. We'll get more into it as we go on. From the very beginning here, basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to go over a good posture, as it were. The best thing to do when you have a posture is to always make sure that your feet are about shoulder width apart. At shoulder width apart, your balance is evenly distributed right and left. You can move very simply from one leg to the other and to be centered. The second most important thing is you actually want to use your legs kind of like how they were designed to be used, like shock absorbers. You don't want to be tall and up here with your legs straight. Bend your knees, allowing movement to occur. The second thing is you want to make sure that your hips are in the right placement. As a general rule, especially here in Western societies, we have a need to be up into our chest, and by doing that, we end up creating this lean forward. And how we walk is essentially by this lean, we fall and catch ourselves. So we're actually being pulled, and the act of walking is really the act of keeping you from falling. What you really want to do is you want to settle down, again, bend those legs, and you want to pivot your hips so that they're underneath you. The easiest way to achieve this is really think about pinching your butt cheeks together like you're holding on to something with your butt cheeks. You've got a dime in your butt or a dollar bill, or you've got your imperial credits right there, and you're squeezing them tight because you don't want to lose them in a search and seizure. That's really how you keep those hips rotated forward. As you get better at this, there's less of the actual having to squeeze hard all the time, and you get to learn to feel the muscles that are inside your abdominal that are attached to your pelvic bone. That'll actually rotate the bone forward. It's about this rotation, and then sitting down. So now you're very evenly balanced. You're not up here in your chest and there's no lean. You're settled down into your skeleton, and you're using your legs like the shock absorbers they were meant to be to begin with. Now when you go to walk, it's more of a transferring of your balance. When you go to walk, you don't just launch forward from the center. You place your weight on one foot. In my case, I'm placing the weight on my left, freeing my right foot to move. Notice I'm balanced. I'm not falling one way or the other. And then as I extend my right foot, I just shift my balance onto that foot, now leaving my left foot free to move. When I want to go this way, I just extend my foot, and with my foot out there, I shift my weight onto it. From here, from the center. So I'm going to put my weight again on my left foot, allowing this foot to be free. I extend it and then shift my balance onto that foot. Now allowing my left foot to be free. Shift my balance onto that foot. Now allowing this foot to be free. So that when you're walking, if you watch closely from this centered position, bend the knees in here, shifting my weight, you'll notice most of my body is on this side of the red line. Moving my foot forward, allowing my weight to move here. Notice I'm now on this side of the line. This is now free, allowing my weight to shift to that foot. Now I'm moving to this side of the line. This is here. Allow my weight to shift. Now I'm on this side of the line. So that when you're walking balanced, you're never actually right down the center, even though it does appear that way. Whereas when you walk how we're used to walking in Western society, legs basically straight, up in your chest, big and proud, you walk perfectly straight, because I'm not really shifting my weight. What I'm doing is I'm falling forward and catching myself. So I'm falling in a straight line. To really exaggerate this, I'm falling in a straight line and catching myself. As opposed to being on balance and extending onto the foot, extending onto the foot. I'm not playing catch up. My body isn't ahead and my feet are playing catch up, but rather my body is balanced and I am moving onto my foot as I move. This is the best way to move and to sit when you're working from a martial standpoint, at least from the Japanese style of martial arts. A lot of other martial arts, lots of different jiu-jitsus, really stress this core and everything in here. It's the core of how they generate strength. I am not an expert in all forms, and I can't say that this is universal, but in everything I've experienced, this helps improve everything. This learning to be down here, bend your knees, walk from here. You'll find yourself when you're walking down a hallway and somebody comes around the corner, rather than having to stumble and fall and almost run into them, you just stop, because you're never unbalanced. You're always balanced on one or the other of your legs, always balanced. So you never run into things. When you hit something and you would normally trip, stumble, and fall, you kick the edge of a corner of a coffee table or whatever. When you hit it this way, when you hit it because you're balanced, doesn't keep it from hurting. Still hurts, you hit it hard. But there's no need to stumble because your weight wasn't so far over here that this foot was trying to catch up and catch you, and it got stopped by the table. Instead, you were just transferring your weight and were getting ready to go. You still kick it, still hurts, but you don't stumble and fall. So learning to walk like this is a great way to practice. When you walk somewhere, consciously sit down, sit here, rotate your hips, bend your knees, and then extend and transfer your weight onto your balance. At first it's going to feel awkward, but once you get good at it, trust me, nobody really notices what's going on. With that being said, again, this is your core, if you will, how you generate power from your core and balance from your core. The second piece, if you recall, we went over our directions of movement that I want to do is I want to stress essentially the timing of the movement. If we're standing here and again this attack is coming down the center and I step and then move to my leg, the whole time I'm stepping, I'm staying right here where the attack is coming. This attack is coming in strong, I'm stepping, boom, I got hit. So you want to be moving in a manner like I was talking with the walking and falling. You want to move from here first. Imagine you have ropes, if you will, tied to your hips, and somebody is pulling so you can see how my body is moving. So I move with that hip and then put my weight onto that foot. Same thing here, I move with the hip to create that movement. Rather than moving with the leg and then putting my weight on it, when I'm doing martial movement, the movement is here. The movement is from here. I'm still doing the same thing where I'm moving balanced. I'm not falling and catching it because you keep your shoulders and everything tight in here, but you're moving from here. You're moving from here. Imagine somebody is pulling. Same thing when you move backwards. Imagine somebody is pulling. So you're pulling. The best way I can describe it is a controlled fall. Rather than falling off balance, you're keeping everything here, and then you press that weight, and when it's basically too much for your body to hold, you move your leg onto it. Move your leg onto it. Same thing back. Move onto it. So you're moving from those hips. You're moving from here. You can see that, how this is movement from here, and then the foot moves, as opposed to moving the foot and then moving the body. Again, this attack is coming straight in and I move the foot. The whole time this foot is moving, I'm still right here where the attack is. What I want to be doing is as soon as I want to move that direction, I move from here. So as I put that foot out, I'm actually already in motion. That's how, from a visual standpoint, when you watch really good Japanese martial artists, as opposed to say really good Chinese martial arts, even though they still generate a lot of power from here, Chinese martial arts are very quick, very, I don't know how else to describe it, but they're fast. And Japanese martial arts a lot of times appear to be much slower. But that's part of the secret, the visual of how to do that. If you're going to move your leg and then move your weight, you have to be really quick in order to get your body out of the attack. As this moves, then this follows. So you have to do that faster than the person is punching or kicking or swinging a sword or throwing a baseball or whatever you're getting out of the way of. When you go to do that, if you move this first, you have to be super fast to get off the line. However, if the entire movement is an escape, so as soon as it comes in, you're moving from your hip. You're moving from here instead, right from the beginning. The instant I initiate movement, I'm already off of the line. It doesn't take that much. If you look at the very finite of this, just shifting over here, I'm almost halfway off the line. I'm not quite all the way, because I'm just shifting my weight, and my body is wider than that. That's the shoulder bit. But just pulling here that much, I'm already about halfway, maybe 2/3 off the line, and I haven't actually moved yet. So that's part of the illusion of the movement, of how you create that speed, if you will, without having to be fast. So it looks like I'm taking a step and moving, because that's how people are used to doing it. Step, walk, step, walk, step, walk. And that's the drill I gave you to start with. Sit, shift, foot out, walk. That's the drill I'm giving you to start with, because that drill is really to learn about all of this core, the sitting, the pinching, pelvic tilted forward, and the knees bent. Shift the weight. That's what this is about. This step, then walk. But when it gets down to the martial applications, if I sit over here, I've moved off the line this direction, and then I step and walk, I've actually moved 1/3 of the way out, and then I have to move that 1/3 and the other half of my body back in. So I made this zigzag that's going to make it actually even slower than just this. And the real way to achieve that movement is, once you initiate that direction of movement, that putting your weight over here, keep going that way. So right from the beginning, the attack launch, as you see it, move from here. Move from here. You're moving forward, move from here. So when you're here, move from here. Notice off the line. Same thing here, move right here. I'm going straight forward, and I'm off the line. That's the movement of attack. However, if I go here, I'm still on the line, and then when I go straight forward, I'm finally off of it. But initiate here, off the line. Initiate your movement from this pelvic structure. This is our grounding unit. We generate our power from the earth itself. This is how you do it. This is how you start. So, butt pinch, knees bent. This is your basic balanced stance. Doesn't matter which of the postures you use. When you go into postures, you're in your long postures, you're in your short postures, you're in your baiting postures. Whatever postures it is you're using, this still has to happen. If you're in your posture here and your butt's out, you're not very balanced. You've got to have that tucked all underneath you, in here. So that's the big thing that I wanted to point out. So if you're working on those directions of movement we talked in last time, also work on that. Work on the correct body posture. Work on where you generate your movement from. Don't generate your movement from your feet. Generate your movement from your hips. Move from the center. Always move from center. That's how you create the illusion of moving fast without having to move so fast. All right, I hope that's helpful. I'll get this posted up, and let me know if you guys want to see anything else.